Let's take what we've learned about parallel and perpendicular slope and apply them to some of the problems that we see here. For example 1, it asks us, what ratio represents the slope of a line parallel to line J? I'm going to underline parallel. That's my important word here. I know parallel slope is the same. But since I don't have the slope yet, that's what I have to find first. So I'm going to find the slope and then keep it the same. Here, I need to find two perfect points. And I see one at -2, -3, and another at 5, 0. I can use either the formula or the graph to find my slope. So I'm going to use the graph this time. I'm going to draw along my grid lines, up and over, and then I'm going to count. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have 7 across. My slope is rise over run, or 3 over 7. That doesn't simplify any. I want to keep it the same. So 3 over 7 is my answer. For example 2, it says which pair of points defines a line parallel to line S. So again, I have to keep it the same, but first I need to find the slope. So I'm going to find my perfect points. There's one at -3, -1, and then there's another here at 0, 1. I can use my graph or the formula, my choice. So -3, -1 is 1 point. The other is 0, 1. This time I'm going to use the formula to find my slope. Y minus y over x minus x. Remember, yourself over your x is a slippery slope when you date your x. So we put our y's on the top. All right, fill in our numbers. -1 is our y value from our first ordered pair, and +1 from our second ordered pair. And then our x values, -3 minus 0. Y minus y over x minus x. I can plug that into Desmos, and it gives me 2/3. I'm going to keep it the same. So I'm not changing anything. So now I need to figure out which answer choice has 2 points that have that same slope. So I can go in and use my formula. I'm going to try each answer choice. So for answer choice A, y minus y over x minus x, it's going to be 4 minus 6, my y values, over my x values, 2 minus 5. And when I plug that into Desmos, I get 2/3, which happens to be what I'm looking for. So I'm already done. Let's try another one. Which graph best represents a line perpendicular to line K? Again, I underline my important words. Perpendicular is important. Perpendicular means I find my slope, and then I change the sign and flip the fraction. Here, I have points on the graph. I'm just going to use the graph to find my slope. Before I know what the perpendicular slope is, I have to find my original slope. So we're going to take those points, and I'm going to draw grid line along the grid lines, up and over, and then I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. And my slope is rise over run, or 6 over 4 in this case, which does simplify in Desmos to 3 over 2. And I want perpendicular. So I'm going to take that 3 over 2, that's what I have. I'm going to change the sign and flip the fraction, which will give me the slope that I need, which is a negative. It was positive, now I need negative. And I'm going to flip my fraction. 3 over 2 becomes 2 over 3. So that's what I'm going to look for in each of these other graphs. So let's start with our first one right here. I'm going to draw my line down and over. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3. Count again. 1, 2, 3, 4. My slope is rise over run. It is going down, and it's -3/4. That's not what I need, so I'm going to keep going. Our next graph, draw along the grid lines, down and over. Then I'm going to count 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My slope is rise over run, or negative 3/5. Still not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for negative 2/3. Let's try the next one. Along the grid lines, I count. I have 4 here. I count along the bottom, and that's 7. Rise over run is negative 4/7. Still not what I need. So hopefully it's our last one. Draw along the grid lines. I count. I have 4 on this side. I have 6 along the bottom. Rise over run, negative 4 over 6. If I put that in Desmos, I get negative 2/3, which is exactly what I'm looking for. So that's my answer. Let's try another one. Here it says line A passes through points with coordinates negative 3, 7 and 0, 4. What is the slope of a line perpendicular to line A? I'm going to underline perpendicular. That's our important word. So I need to find the slope because it doesn't give it to me. And then, because it's perpendicular, I want to change the sign and flip the fraction. So I'm going to go ahead and use my formula, y minus y over x minus x. Plug in my numbers. I use my y value from the first point, 7, minus my y value from the second point, negative 4. And then x, negative 3, minus x, 0. I can plug that into Desmos. If I get a decimal back, I can click this little fraction button right here, which gives me my fraction, negative 11/3. Now, I want perpendicular, so I need to do something else. I have to change the sign and flip the fraction. So negative is going to become positive. 11 over 3 is going to become 3 over 11. So my answer is C. Let's try this one. Line H passes through points negative 1, 1 and 5, 6. What is the slope of a line parallel to line H? Again, I underline parallel. That's my important word. I'm going to use my formula to find my slope since it doesn't give it to me. And for parallel, I want to keep it the same. So my formula, y minus y over x minus x, yourself over your x. Fill in my numbers. Y, 1 minus y, 6. X, negative 1 minus x, 5. And I can plug that into Desmos. If it gives me a decimal, I click that little fraction button right there. And it gives me 5 over 6. Now I want parallel. I want to keep it the same. So 5, 6 is my answer. All right, we've got 2 more to go over. Example number 6 here is asking us to plot another point so that the line is parallel to line B. It does give us our 2 points on B, so I don't have to use the graph to find my slope. I can use my formula, but I need to plot a point so that line DF is parallel to line B. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find the slope, and I'm going to keep it the same. So let's plug in our formula, y minus y, 7 minus 1 over x minus x, negative 5 minus 5. Plug it into Desmos, and it gives me back negative 3/5. I want parallel. So negative 3/5, I'm going to keep it the same. So I know I'm going to go down. It's negative slope. And then I have rise over run. So my rise is 3. My run is 5. So I'm going to start at point D. If you guys remember traveling from slope, or traveling with slope from Algebra 1, that's essentially what we're doing here. So we're starting with point D. And my rise is 3, and it's a negative slope. So I'm going to go down. 1, 2, 3. And then my run is 5, so I go to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's where I can put my point. So point F is going to be at 3, negative 4. And I can draw a line through that, and you can see that those lines are parallel. So it looks like I did a pretty good job. What about plotting a point on a perpendicular line? Let's try that. Line A passes through points 0, 1, and -3, -5. Plot point G on the grid below so that line HG is perpendicular to line A. Again, I'm going to underline perpendicular. That's my important word. It doesn't give me slope, so I have to find it. And then, because it's perpendicular, I change the sign and flip the fraction. Since it gives me my points, I can use my formula. Y minus y over x minus x, y, 1, minus y, -5, over x, 0, minus x, -3. In Desmos gives me a +2. So, I want perpendicular, which means I'm going to change the sign and flip the fraction. So, my +2 becomes a -1/2. From here, traveling with slope, I know I have a negative slope. I know my rise is 1, my run is 2, so I start at point H. Negative slope, so I'm going to go down 1, and then I'm going to go right 2. That's my run, 1, 2, and that's where I'm going to plot point G. And I can draw a line through that to see that that does indeed look perpendicular. So it looks like I did a pretty good job on this one too. All right, so that is it for our learning lab. Let's do a little bit of practice together and then we'll work on our independent work.